Hello. Welcome to the sermon you're not getting this week. Uh, Welcome to the sermon you're not getting this week. You might notice that my hair is very floofy and frizzy. One, I forgot to put anything in it this morning, so this is what my hair looks like naturally. Sorry if you don't want me to be your pastor anymore. Also, it's windy, so you can't blame me for my hair being a little crazy. All right, today we're looking at. I kind of look like a mad scientist, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm that ancient aliens guy. Maybe I look a little crazy. Maybe that's good. Today we're looking at Romans chapter 5, verses 12 through 19. St. Paul writes, "Therefore, just as sin came into the world through one man, and death came through sin, and so death spread to all because all have sinned. For sin was indeed in the world before the law. But sin is not reckoned when there is no law. Yet death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over those who did not sin in the likeness of Adam, who is the pattern of the one who was to come. But the free gift is not like the trespass. For if the many died through the one man's trespass, much more surely have the grace of God and the gift in the grace of one man, Jesus Christ, abounded for the many. And the gift is not like the effect of the one man's sin. For the judgment following one trespass brought condemnation, but the gift following many trespasses brings justification. If because of one man's trespass death reigned through that one, much more surely will those who receive the abundance of grace and the gift of righteousness reign in life through the one man, Jesus Christ. Therefore, just as one man's trespass led to the condemnation for all, so one man's act of righteousness leads to justification and life for all. For just as through the one man's disobedience the many were made sinners, so through the one man's obedience the many will be made righteous." Here ends our reading. So one of the nice things about this Tuesday sermon, the sermon you're not getting this week, is I can be a little more free with it, and it doesn't have to be like a normal sermon. Sometimes we just kind of talk about theological concepts that you might not have been thinking about, or you might not have thought about in this way. And I want to talk about a couple of things here. One, I want to talk about the idea of universal, original sin, and the idea of universalism. And we're going to start with original sin. When we think of sins, oftentimes we think of individual bad actions that we do. If you tell a lie or rob a grocery store or hit someone, that's a sin. If you say a bad word, that might be a sin, right? Some people might say really strictly only like breaking the Ten Commandments and things that can be sort of construed as such are sins. Some might broaden it out to just about any bad thing that we do are sins. But however you look at it, oftentimes we think of sin as an individual bad action we take. Original sin is the concept that it's not about individual actions, it's about our condition as humans. We are all fallen short. And I actually think this makes a lot of sense. There's some people who don't like the idea of original sin, but I like it because, well, two things. One, at the very best, when we're trying to be the best we can and succeeding at being the best we can doesn't always measure up. I've heard stories of, this guy was so outgoing and loving and kind to everyone in his community, but because he was so outgoing and loving and kind to his community, he kind of ostracized his own children, right? His children felt like he was father to everyone, and that, but he wasn't their father any more than he was anyone else's father, and so they felt a little bit like they didn't have a dad in the way that that other kids did. He was doing the best he possibly could do about being loving toward the neighbor, and still, he just didn't have enough to also extend that in a special way to some other people who needed it most. And that's just one example. At the best I can be, I can't be who other people need me to be all the time. I'm limited. I'm human. I'm fallible. I'm fragile. I can't be everything that other people need me to be. I can't pay enough attention to people. I can't love people well enough. And that's at my best. But the truth is, while everyone falls short at their very best, we also just aren't always at our best. And I think that goes for everyone. I have not met a person who is 100% good all the time. I've not met anyone like that. People get unreasonably angry about things. People lose their patience. People sometimes it's not anger. It's they're just really lazy about things. They don't want to do things and go help out with things. Sometimes they really say the wrong thing to a person who needs to hear something else. We all not only fall short doing our best, but sometimes we do our worst. And that goes for everyone. Everyone is guilty of this. Sin is not an individual action that we can say, well, that person is a sinner, as if I'm not. Sin is what it is to be human. It's part of our condition. We will always fall short. We will never be enough for everyone who needs us. We will never love God as well as we should. We will never love our neighbor as well as we should, at least not this side of eternity. The truth is, this is part of being human, is being imperfect, is being incomplete. So I like the idea of original sin. Paul talks about it here as coming from Adam. Now, I don't know if it necessarily comes from Adam. It doesn't have to come from this sort of one figure in the Old Testament. It could just be part of who we are as people. And there's some interesting arguments about, what the tree of knowledge of good and evil actually meant that I won't delve into right now. Don't want to make this too much of a theology lecture. But Paul talks about it coming through one person. And this is why we have all sinned. That mistake was universal in its consequences and drastic, dire, deadly, literally deadly, because through sin came death. Even for people who didn't sin the same way as Adam, we all die because we are all in the condition of sin. This is what it means to be human. We are imperfect and we are mortal. We die. Universalism is a theory that states that everyone will be saved, regardless of their religious background, regardless of if they believe in God or not. Everyone will eventually get saved. And there's a few different ideas about how this happened, how this would happen. Some people think that everyone has some bit of God inside them, and that will connect in the end. Some people believe that people will have an opportunity sort of after they're dead to choose to follow God, or they get to meet God, and they'll be sort of compelled to follow God. Some people think that people will bear some degree of punishment, like a purgatory type thing, but then eventually get into heaven. Whatever way around this, universalism is a fairly popular but not universally accepted belief about the afterlife. And I, for one, have to say that I am a bit of a hopeful universalist myself. I would certainly like universalism to be true. And I think a lot of us would, because I suspect a lot of people know someone who doesn't believe in God. I know and love people who don't believe in God. And the truth is, I struggle with the idea of limited atonement, with the idea of some people not having a chance to go to heaven, of the idea that some people will either be punished for eternity or will just die eternally and cease to exist. I struggle with that because it's hard for me to imagine eternal bliss if I am living eternal bliss knowing people I love and care about won't be there. I don't think it would be bliss to me. I'm not sure that would be heaven. And if I were changed such that that would become heaven for me, I don't think it would be me anymore. It would be a robot in my place. And I don't know. It's ultimately not up to me. Maybe there is some way that this works that my brain is too limited to understand. I can't work it out. I can't make sense of it. But I have a feeling that what Paul is arguing for here might be cautiously tiptoeing around the idea of universalism. Obviously, Paul thinks Jesus is more important, bigger than Adam. Adam was a type of what's to come, and Christ is the fulfillment, the ultimate fulfillment of what Adam was. Christ is the new Adam, the new chance for humanity to be recreated and renewed. But one has to ask, if Adam was just a foreshadowing of Jesus, if Christ is the fulfillment, then why would Adam's sin be more universal than Christ's redemption? The reality is we can't opt in or out of original sin. It's just part of our condition. It's just who we are. It's written on our hearts and our DNA and our brains as humans. We are limited, we are fallible, and we are mortal. That's who we are. It's universal, and we didn't get to choose this. So why should Christ's gift be limited if Christ's gift is so much greater? Why should Christ's gift stop at only those people who choose Jesus or believe in Jesus? You don't have to believe in original sin for original sin to impact you. You don't have to believe it to be imperfect. I don't know why God's power of redemption would be more limited than Adam's power to mess things up. And it seems like that's what Paul is saying here. He doesn't quite spell it out explicitly, and in some parts of it almost seem to contradict that view, but it's hard to shy away from what seems like the logical, inevitable conclusion that if it's true that Christ's gift is so much better, so much more powerful, so much more important, so much more weighty than Adam's, if Christ's gift is truly the ultimate fulfillment of what Adam foreshadowed, then it's hard to imagine why Christ's atonement would be so small in comparison. I don't know where everybody stands on this, but I'll say for my part, I hope what Paul was getting at but didn't quite spell out is the truth. I hope and I believe that Christ's redemption is so much greater than Adam's sin. And to be so much greater, I think part of that means it is for everyone, whether we want it, whether we believe it, whether we understand it, whether we've chosen it or not. Christ makes something new of all of us and gives us all an opportunity for new life. Thanks be to God. Amen.